if you have the Wargames Atlantic Lizardman models and you made them with rifles, you don't have a way to use them in Warlords of Erehwon, but in this video we're going to show you how you can design that unit to use it in your Warlords of Erehwon army. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome to our first video in our series covering new units for Warlords of Erehwon. So, in the description below, I've put a link to Rick Priestley's blog where he actually does the support for the Warlords of Erehwon game, and within it you'll find a resource to basically the point values that you can use, and those are the rules we use to create the unit you're about to see today. Today we're going to cover the Atlantic Wargames Lizardmen models, but equipped with rifles, because that's an option that's in the kit, and there's nothing in the current army list for reptilians to allow you to use those models. But thank you, Rick, for providing us a way. So let's go ahead and take a look at the models, and we'll see how we went about doing this. Alright, so here's the 10 I made. These are, I made 10 with little stabby sticks, 10 with the guns, and then 4 sci-fi. These are really simple models. They really look good, and you have quite a few options. Just combinations of head, body, tail. But the way they're equipped in the kit, you either give them a sword or stabby stick or a gun. You can't give them both. The kit just doesn't include that kind of equipment. Alright, and since they either have a hand weapon or a ranged weapon, I didn't feel, when I looked at the unit, that it made sense that this would not be able to fight in close combat. They're lizardmen. They have claws and teeth. So, even though all the other reptilian unit entries have a hand weapon, since you can't model this one with it, and I didn't have any bits laying around where I could give them like knives or daggers or swords, I went ahead and just gave them their own raw hand-to-hand attack. So let's take a quick look at the stats and kind of how I built the particular unit, okay? Alright, so here you can take a look at the regular reptilian stat line for, I started with just the reptilians of bows. I figured we'll just start there and we can kind of adjust the profile based on that. So, you'll notice across just the stat lines, there's nothing special. These are just like any other reptilian unit. Just like all the others, they've got agility of 6, accuracy and strength of 5, resistance of 6, because they got scaly skin. Initiative 6 and the command, just like the others, normally 7 with the sergeant being, or the leader being +1. However, unlike, you'll notice as far as weapons go, they just have sword and bow. And as far as special rules, they only have cold eye. Of course, the sergeant has tough. So with that, it's a pretty basic loadout. Now the difference here, though, is that of course I didn't want to have the sword because I couldn't model it with one, and I gave him an extra attack. So let's take a look at what the stat line looks now. Okay, so whereas the other guys were 15 points each, these are going to be also 15, but it's kind of interesting the way you get there. Alright, so first of all, you take away the sword. That removes 5 points. Now the bows actually are 2 points because it's a range 20. Now handguns cost 4 points. So you took away 5 with the swords, but you added 2 in with the handgun. Over in the special rules section, you see the +1 hand-to-hand, or the 1 hand-to-hand attack. That costs 3. So you take the sword out, give them handguns and the hand-to-hand attack, and now you're back to 15. Perfectly fine. Okay. So they cost the same as any other unit. They can do close combat, and they can do, of course, ranged. Now, as far as the actual weapon options, now obviously some of you guys are going to actually have sword bits laying around or knife, daggers. So what I went ahead, I gave an option to either equip with a dagger or knife at +1 point per model, or give them a sword or axe for +2. So that essentially would replace their one hand-to-hand attack with an actual weapon, and which will likely have either a strength bonus or well, they'll both have a strike value bonus. That's really a good thing there. Then, of course, you can add up to 5 more, just like anything else. But just like the other reptilian units, I also gave these the option to be given light armor, because it makes sense. Let's keep them consistent with the rest. So, pretty simple loadout. The one thing that I decided to change, though, to give to this unit, that the other units, is you'll notice there are no, in the options section, you won't find the ability to give it the aquatic rule. Matter of fact, I put up in the special, up underneath the warrior unit at the top left-hand corner, may never be given the aquatic rule. Kind of makes sense considering they're carrying gunpowder. They wouldn't be swimming, okay? So, I just figured that's the easiest way to do it. So, you have another Lizardman unit with a ranged attack that only shoots on a fire order, strike value 3, and I think it's range 20, right? Yeah. So you now have some good strike value weaponry for your Lizardman army. So hopefully you can kind of see the logic as I went through taking the standard Lizardmen with bow, or reptilians with bows, and converting them to the Lizardmen with handguns, and how I played around with the different options you give. Of course, if you're making your own, you can give them whatever options you want. But again, remember, just like Rick previously said in his point value sheet supplement, this is not meant to, basically min-max something to make it extremely powerful. Keep game balance in mind. Don't try to cheat the system, if you will. Okay. This is a game of fun. It's not meant to be a competitive game. Let's enjoy it, and let's find other ways to use some of our other models. Here's an example of how you would take a model that you find out in the model kit that isn't representing the rules, build it, and then create the rule set to go with it, and point cost it out, and then it's part of your army list. So I hope this was kind of enlightening, gave you an idea of maybe some inspiration of how you could find some other units that you have access to or you've seen that you'd like to throw into Warlords of Erehwon, and here's how you can do it. Okay, well, stay tuned for more episodes where we're going to cover different things like taking conversions that you've made for other games, or even this one, and creating units stats for that, taking models from other game systems and employing them, maybe even entire armies, or in some cases taking a manufacturer's entire line and creating a whole brand new army out of it. Alright, so stay tuned. We'll see what comes forward with some more Warlords of Erehwon. Take care, guys.